All right. Hello, YouTube. Hello, fellow citizens, and hello, residents of Prince George's County. I'm coming back. It appears the complaint I had submitted earlier, almost, I believe, a year ago or so, give or take. It's been closed out, been investigated. They sent me a letter today. It says, basically, Dear Mr. Smith, the Internal Affairs Division has investigated your complaint in relations to, I'm just paraphrasing it more or less, in relations to January 19th, 2012. They reviewed the allegations. They did sustain a procedural violation against one Officer Kozay. I believe that's how I might pronounce the name, Kozay. The other two, Corporal McCann, Police Officer Leonard. McCann was accused of use of force, and Police Officer Leonard was accused of unbecoming conduct. Both of those were not sustained. And it goes on to give the definition of what sustained means. Closure sustained is when an investigation discloses sufficient evidence to establish a preponderance of guilt in the above sustained charges. It goes on to state, in the above sustained charges or the appropriate disciplinary actions have been taken. A closure of non-sustained indicates that the investigation of your complaint failed to discover sufficient evidence to clearly prove or disprove the allegation. It says, in light of the findings of the investigation, I have determined to take no further administrative action. If there are any questions or concerns in this matter, please do not hesitate to contact my office. And it lists a phone number and one Captain Yon. I believe that's how I'm pronouncing the name. I try to pronounce names correctly, but I do struggle with pronouncing them sometimes. And yeah, so this is transparency. My YouTube followers, fellow citizens, and fellow residents of the county, they've been able to follow the entire process from start to finish. They saw when I was riding home, they saw what happened, they saw me submitting the complaint, they saw the charging document, case dismissed, me submitting the complaint, all of it. I try to be as transparent as possible. But you have to understand that the police department, especially government, loves to operate in secrecy. And it's often, when they operate in this secrecy, it's to the detriment of the citizens of the community. I have to point no further than to our former county executive, Jack Johnson. Look at him. He's in federal penitentiary. And look at all the nonsense he had going on. Criminal behavior. And I have to go back to a very humble point about transparency. Why aren't the citizens up in arms over a former county executive being in prison? Far as was his corruption oozing into the police department? Did he persecute certain folks? Because he's in charge of the police department. He hires the police chief. Did his corruption tank the police department? Did his corruption tank the fire department? These are all valid questions to be asked. Did his time as the state's attorney, was he corrupt then? These are very difficult questions to ask, but they need to be asked. And, in my opinion, they should have been investigated. Federal investigation should have been launched. Are there people languishing in prison now because of corruption nepotism, malfeasance, you know, the whole list of it. Oh, excuse me. But I'll go ahead and get back onto the police, more specifically the police department. The whole issue of police discipline, though, and transparency is very important. You know, this always comes up. You know, oftentimes, you know, a complaint will be submitted. You know, the police will try to intimidate you. They will try and twist your words. A lot of times also, the police or government likes to have no cameras, nothing on the record, no recordings, nothing. So they can have a situation where it's my word versus your word. And then when they do have video, they like to say, well, the video doesn't tell the whole story. And, you know, oftentimes that's the government's lawyer saying that type of stuff. You know, you could say, well, that's a bunch of BS. You know, you as a juror or you as a citizen, you can look at the video and you can come to your own conclusion. I don't need no government lawyer to come and tell me what to think. You know what I'm saying? I don't need no government lawyer to tell me what I'm seeing with my own two eyes. I don't need that. You know, let me look at the video, let me come to my own opinion, and then we can hold some folks accountable. That's the way I view it. But moving right along, more of the corruption, more of the incompetence, more of the malfeasance. This is my theme when I speak of county government, specifically on this level. This is my theme, and hopefully I'm able to back it up and articulate it. So right there in front of me, I have the document they sent me saying my complaint was sustained, the procedural violation. But nobody wants to talk about all the constitutional issues I brought up. Nobody, you know, where's the courage there? Where's the courage? Police always talk about, well, we're out there protecting lives and property. We're courageous. They have this bravery. Where's that same bravery when it comes to admitting their own mistakes? Okay? But let me go ahead and go on to the next document I had, or article. In the lawsuit, and this was a lawsuit, on a regular basis, there's some shenanigans going on over at the Prince George's County Police Academy. I believe it's over in, where is it? I want to say like Seabrook, Lanham area, over there. But anyway, there's always some nonsense going on over there. Basically, there was a cheating scandal over there. You have recruits wanting to sue the county. You have instructors being demoted. You have instructors being transferred. You have instructors filing lawsuits. You know, this was all back in 2010. But since then, and you have students that get dropped from classes. They file lawsuits against the county. You know, this is going on a regular basis over at the academy. You read this article, I'm just paraphrase through the article real quick. Basically, you have an instructor giving these folks the answer. I mean, the recruits or cadets the answers. You have no integrity over there. But this was during the era of Jack Johnson. Why do I bring this up? Because they say only 30-some recruits were affected by this, or only certain classes. In the article, it says class session 115, 116, and 117. But who are we to trust their word for it? These are the same folks that are getting convicted and getting sent to prison. Jack Johnson, you know, his police chief was fired by the new county executive for being incompetent, you know. But even beyond that, these three classes are affected, right? Are those officers still on the street today? But if you read this article, it goes into depth, the level of incompetence, the lack of training. I mean, it's just like these officers get no training in the academy. No training. You know, they're just dumped out on the street, and they are just clueless. But we're still on that theme of transparency. The police must be held accountable, but what are the tools to do so?